back to the Comptia Network Plus course, Understanding Network Scanners. Network scanner has become a broad term often referring to a family of tools used to analyse our networks, but the Comptia Network Plus objectives are much less vague, so with regard to those critical objectives, know that network scanners refer to these four tools: packet sniffers, intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system, IDS, IPS software, port scanners, Wi-Fi analyzers, bandwidth speed testers. Packet sniffers, network monitors. Unlike port scanners, packet sniffers actually look inside every packet on a network segment. Packet sniffers come in many flavors, and some of them, like Microsoft's Message Analyzer, are even free today. Message Analyzer comes bundled with Windows Server and does allow you to analyze your network communications traffic. All good, but personally I use Wireshark instead. It's also free and you can download it from www.wireshark.org. A nice feature of Wireshark is that it runs from Windows, OS X, Linux and Unix platforms. It easily captures data on all my interfaces, including my wireless and virtual private network VPN connections, and looks at all traffic on the network segment. There are tons of packet sniffers available today, and to get your hands on most of them you'll have to pony up some cash. Sometimes they're worth it though, because these higher end products can even provide solutions to problems you find on your network. Nice. Anyway, free or not, the basic purpose of packet sniffers or network analyzers is to collect and analyze each individual packet that is captured on a specific network segment to determine if problems like bottlenecks, retransmissions and security breaches are happening. Packet sniffers are a must-have for every network administrator to troubleshoot and find problems or security holes in a network. For example, you may discover that users are using an application on the network with usernames and passwords sent unencrypted over the network. You can also use packet sniffer to see if there is too much traffic on a segment, to see router or switch interfaces referred to as interface monitoring, or even to see if a broadcast storm has been created by a bad interface network card, NIC. And remember, I don't mean on a network segment. You can't use them to catch packets passing through routers. These network analyzers can also show you top talkers and listeners on your network and provide packet flowing monitoring. Yes, they can help you find a hacker stalking in there, but you'd really have to be looking closely and constantly discover this. For that level of monitoring, you're better off using a tool known as an IDS IPS. It can really help you track and even defeat hackers. We'll talk more about IDS IPS software in the next section. The more expensive network sniffers can help find anomalies in your network like a hack and even alert you to these problems. Figure 18.1 shows the output from a packet sniffer. Notice that you can identify both the IP address and the MAC addresses associated with any packet captured, as well as identify the protocol in use. So here you can see the output from a packet sniffer. You can definitely see that a packet sniffer can provide you with huge amounts of information. This means you really need something to narrow things down and help you more readily find the needle in the haystack that you're looking for. Right, in this case, help comes in the form of some handy built-in filters that can be used to gather information from just one specific host or server. Without them, you'd have to go through possibly thousands of packets to find the problem. For the packet I've highlighted, you can see there's a probable user datagram UDP checksum error, And by the way, because UDP is connectionless, this is a pretty common error. Intrusion detection and prevention software. An IDS detects unwanted attempts to manipulate network systems and or environments, and an IPS is a computer security device that monitors network and or system activities for any strange or malicious behavior. It can react in real time to prevent and even block nasty activities. An IDS identifies, detects and reports attempts of unauthorized access to the network as well as any suspicious activity, and it's the best software type for identifying an attack. However, if you want to stop the attack in its tracks, you need to add an IPS device. So, unlike IDSs, which can identify an attack and report it, an IPS can stop the attack by shutting down ports or dropping certain types of packets. A bunch of different IDS, IPS software packages are available on the market, and a lot of them are free. Again, predictably, the best ones aren't and can be a bit pricey. These high-powered versions run on Linux or other proprietary hardware, but there are still many IDS, IPS software applications available for Windows. Snort is one of the most popular IDS, IPS software products around. It runs on both Linux and Windows, and it's free, open source, which happens to be a big reason for its popularity. But that's not the only reason. Just because it's free doesn't mean it doesn't offer up some pretty cool features. On the other hand, if you're dealing with a large corporate environment, you'll need some serious weaponry. Cisco offers an adaptive security appliance, ASA, as an enterprise solution that's powerful but definitely far from free. It's worth it. Through figure 18.2 shows a picture of a Cisco ASA box I use in my security classes. Personally, I think the Cisco box is the best IDS, IPS box on the market today. Still, Snort isn't bad. Check out Cisco's new acquisition, SourceFire. So, if cost is an issue, rest assured you can use it, as well as several other tools, and be much better equipped and that you would be without them working on your network to help you keep it secure. And you see here figure 18.3 IDS IPS placement on internetwork. So here you have your web server, firewall, DMZ, and the internal network SQL server, IDS IPS. To be honest, because of devices complexity and many different physical configurations possible, this is a relatively simplistic view of an IDS IPS working within a network. The important thing I want you to pay attention to is the fact that you will typically find an IDS IPS software positioned between your internal router and the firewall to the outside network internet. If you're using Snort, just add the software to a Linux box and connect this box between the firewall and the router. This area would typically be your demilitarized zone, DMZ. The basic analysis and security engine base displays and reports intrusions and attacks logged in the Snort database in a web browser for a convenient analysis. Port scanners. A port scanner is a software tool designed to search a host for open ports. Those of us administering our networks use port scanners to ensure their security, but bad guys use them to find a network's vulnerabilities and compromise them. To port scan means to scan for TCP and UDP open ports on a single target host, either to legitimately connect to and use its services for business and or personal reasons, or to find and connect to those ports and subsequently attack the host and steal or manipulate it for nefarious reasons. In contrast, port sweeping means scanning multiple hosts on a network for a specific listening TCP or UDP port, like SQL. SQL injection attacks are super common today. This just happens to be the favourite approach used by hackers when trying to invade your network. They port sweep in a broad manner, and then if they find something, in this case SQL, they can port scan that particular host they've discovered with the desired service available to exploit and get what they're after. This is why it's a really good idea to turn off any unused services on your servers and routers, and to run only the minimum services required for every host machine in your network. Do yourself a big favour and make sure this is your security policy. Remember that three-way handshake I discussed in chapter 6, Introduction to the Internet Protocol? Well, it just so happens that an SYN scan is the most popular form of TCP scanning. Rather than use the operating system's network functions, the port scanner actually generates raw IP packets itself and monitors for responses. This scan type is also known as half-open scanning because it never really opens a full TCP connection. The port scanner generates a SYN packet, and if the target port is open, it will respond with a SYN ACK packet. The scanner host responds with an RST reset packet, closing the connection before the handshake is completed. Although a free program named Network Mapper Nmap can be used as a port scanner, you can use it to do so much more. I give 2 thumbs up and recommend that you download Nmap at http://nmap.org and play with this cool program. Nmap, like Snort, is open source, but Nmap runs on all platforms and can provide port scanning ability. Check all the open services running on each host, find firewalls, and even help tremendously with network management. Figure 18.4 shows Nmap running on a Windows Vista platform, performing a domain name service DNS resolution, and then a port scan to the host being monitored. ZenMap is the name of the GUI interface it uses. So here you can see Nmap in action. Nmap is very flexible, and again I really encourage you to check it out. One of the other nice features of Nmap is its documentation capacity. It comes with a complete set of instructions and equips you with documentation to help you troubleshoot and map your network. Even though Nmap is pretty simple, there are even simpler tools out there, a whole lot of them. Angry IP is a program I use that provide both IP scanning and port scanning abilities. It's definitely not as complex as Nmap, but because it's extremely easy to use, you might want to try it for free. Open source program as well. Figure 18.5 illustrates port scanning with Angry IP. You can see right away that it's much simpler program than some of the other sniffing and port mapping tools we've discussed, but simple doesn't mean it isn't powerful. So I'm going to leave it here today for this video. If you like listening, please consider like, sharing and subscribing. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you.